Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our literature unit for the month of September, and over the next 3 days, we're going to be talking about a work of literature that was published a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was actually published way back in 1908, but it's kind of a young person's novel, and it still is interesting to read in modern times. The title of the book is The Wind in the Willows. It's a tale of animal friendship.
Yeah, a lot of times authors will take human characteristics and then put them into animal form. So we're going to follow some friends as they kind of go on a wild adventure. But pay attention to their personalities, and you can actually maybe look at who they are and think to yourself, well, am I more like mole or rat or badger or toad? Do I have friends that would save me if I became too impulsive? Would they try to help me? Would they try to intervene? We're going to go through the plot of the book for the first 2 days, and then we'll talk about some of the messages in this particular novel on day 3. But as we always do, guys, we're going to read through day 1 first.
Our story begins with Mole, who becomes frustrated with spring cleaning and leaves his underground house for the open air. He comes upon a river and is enchanted by its beauty, its sounds, and its endless motion. He encounters Rat, an enthusiastic boat lover, who invites him for a picnic. Mole falls in love with the river and the lifestyle of those who live alongside it, so he moves in with Rat. That summer, Rat introduces Mole to Toad, the wealthy landowner of Toad Hall. Toad, though generous and good-natured, is also prone to boasting, exaggeration, and self-importance. He's also quick to become obsessed with new hobbies and just as quick to give up on them. Mole and Rat observe this in person when they accompany Toad on a journey in a caravan, his current craze. They are almost hit by a car, and the incident sparks Toad's new mania for cars and driving. As winter approaches, Mole decides to seek out and make the acquaintance of Badger, a well-respected but seldom seen resident of the nearby wild wood. He sets out alone for the wood, but Rat neglected to tell him that many of the wild wooders are unfriendly, even cruel. They start hunting Mole for fun. Rat comes to rescue Mole, but they are trapped by snow. Desperate, they try to find a way out and stumble across Badger's front door. Badger takes them in and looks after them. The 3 friends discuss Toad, who has been involved in numerous car accidents that threaten to ruin him. Badger promises that next summer, he will take action to save Toad from himself. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Let's continue with our lesson, and we'll break things down and explain things to you. Again, the title is The Wind in the Willows, a tale of animal friendship. A willow is a kind of bush or a small tree that grows near water. It has thin leaves, and of course, when the wind blows through the willows, it will produce a very wonderful sound.
Yeah, we often will call it a weeping willow. Weeping as in crying. All of the branches kind of bend down. I think they're my favorite tree. We can grow weeping willows in Arizona, which is kind of crazy because they do like water. But my mom just loved weeping willows, so we had some in our yard. I hope the new owners of the home don't take it out. I love these trees. So The Wind in the Willows, a tale of animal friendship. As we talked about when we first introduced the literature unit, we were talking about how we are following 4 animals, but they really have human personalities. And we're going to be taking a closer look at their friendship and see if you recognize yourself in any of these characters.
Okay, so our story begins with Mole, who becomes frustrated with spring cleaning and leaves his underground house for the open air. So here, this is a mole. That's a kind of animal that lives underground. It burrows in the ground, and I guess they say it is maybe kind of blind or something because it has very small eyes. But we should also mention that this is being used as a name here. That's the actual character's name, Mole. My name is Mole. So it's capitalized, and we don't have the indefinite article or the definite article. We've just got Mole here. So the story begins with Mole, and he's frustrated with his spring cleaning. If you're frustrated, you're just having trouble getting something done. What you want to accomplish is just not getting accomplished. Things are getting in your way. I wish I could do this, but I just can't. You are annoyed because you just can't do what you want to do.
Or maybe you hate that particular task. Does anyone really like cleaning? Sometimes I do if I have lots of free time. I enjoy cleaning. But he becomes frustrated, aggravated, annoyed. And what does he want to do? He wants to get out of there. So he leaves his underground house. Remember, as Tom said, these moles, they burrow into the ground. They like to live under the ground in these holes that they make. And he goes for the open air. He wants to be out there. He wants to be free and away from all the responsibility of cleaning. And he comes upon a river. If you come upon something, you just kind of are walking around. You don't have an intentional destination, perhaps, and you run into something or you come upon it. And he comes upon a river, and how does he feel? He feels enchanted by its beauty, the sounds it's making, and its endless motion. So he loves all of this, all of the beauty and the charming way that this river is getting to just follow its own way. Loves the sounds. I do too. I love the sound of a river, especially if there are a lot of rocks in the river. You'll hear the splash that it makes, and it's very soothing and calming. Enchanted is just kind of another word for being caught up in the magic of something.
Yeah, you're delighted. And in this particular case, he's delighted by three things: the beauty, the sounds, and the motion of the river. Beauty, of course, is its appearance. It looks really cool. It also has lots of sounds. Of course, if you've been to a river, you know rivers have sounds as they go over rocks and things like that. And also, in this particular case, the river has endless motion. That is true. The water continues to flow, and it will probably flow for centuries before it actually stops. Maybe somebody builds a dam or something, who knows, but he's enchanted by those things. If you're a mole living underground, you probably don't have a chance to see those things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's really enchanted or charmed by everything he's seen and hearing. Now, it moves on and it says he encounters rat. This is another word you can use. Of course, this is a verb that is very similar to come upon. If you come upon or encounter something, it means you didn't have the expectations probably of running into these people. A run into is another verb phrase that you can substitute in for that. So he runs into rat, and rat is described as being an enthusiastic boat lover. So if you're enthusiastic about something, you really like it, it's something you enjoy a lot, and you're eager to go and participate in that thing. Maybe you have a hobby that you love, and you're really enthusiastic about it. I love music, so I get enthusiastic about getting to go to concerts and listening to beautiful music. Rat loves boats. So we're using boat lover and using that hyphen in between to describe what he likes. This is being turned into kind of a noun here. He's a boat lover. Maybe you're a boat lover. Maybe you're a mountain climbing lover. Maybe you're a shopaholic. We also use that sort of phraseology to talk about someone who really loves something or gets excited or eager to do a particular thing. What does he do? Well, he invites him for a picnic. So he encounters rat, who invites him for a picnic. Rat actually invites Mole to participate in a picnic with him. So they're new friends, I guess.
Yeah, so who refers to the rat. He encounters rat, and then rat invites Mole for a picnic. Sure. Hey, how you doing? It's nice to meet you. Let's go have a picnic together. And Mole falls in love with the river and the lifestyle of those who live alongside it. So he moves in with rat. So yes, indeed, of course, he was living underground, and he probably didn't like the darkness and stuff like that. So he just thinks the life by the river is just really cool. It's really great. He falls in love with the river. And also with the lifestyle of those who live next to the river. Alongside just means next to something. You're close to the side of something. And yes, indeed, he's met other people there who enjoy their life by the river. They can go swimming, they can go hunting for fish or whatever. So he thinks that's a great lifestyle. So he decides to stay and he moves in with Rat. I guess Rat has a spare room that Mole can stay in.
Sounds like it. It sounds like he's looking for a different lifestyle. Alongside, as Tom said, means next to or close to the side of something. It's a preposition. So he is living near it, next to it, close by. So he moves in with Rat to kind of experience a more exciting lifestyle, at least to Mole, who has lived so many years underground with no fresh air, nothing that moves endlessly. Remember, he likes the endless motion of the river. So it sounds like he's going to have a good time as he moves in with his new roommate.
You got to watch out for floods, though. That does happen sometimes, especially in the spring. Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, that summer, Rat introduces Mole to Toad, the wealthy landowner of Toad Hall. So this is another character here. We've got Mole, we've got Rat, and now we've got Toad, which is like a frog. Toads have drier skin than frogs, and it's got warts on it and stuff like that.
A little bigger, perhaps, too.
Bigger and maybe a little scarier, too. I remember seeing toads in my old community in Waishuangxi. There were toads all over the place there.
They seem browner, too, to me. Frogs seem greener. But yeah, toads are a little scarier looking, I think.
Yeah, they actually seem like they walk instead of jumping. But in any case, that's another subject for another day. So we've got, again, the three characters. We've got Mole, Rat, and now Toad, and he's rich. He's wealthy, and he's the landowner of Toad Hall. That's some kind of structure there, maybe some kind of palace or mansion.
Yeah.
And Toad, though generous and good-natured, is also prone to boasting, exaggeration, and self-importance. So yes, he is generous, he is good-natured, he does have a good personality. Even though he has those personality traits, still he's prone to boasting, exaggeration, and self-importance. So if you're prone to something, you just have that tendency. It happens quite frequently with you. You might be prone to getting colds. Some people get colds a lot easier or more easily than other people do. You might be prone to anger. You might get angry more often than other people do. And here he likes to boast. Hey, I'm so great. I've got this great mansion that I live in. I've got so much money. And then, of course, he's prone to exaggeration, which means you just you present the information about something that is not accurate. You're just making it look bigger or more important than it really is. And also, he's prone to self-importance. He just thinks he's better than everybody else.
A lot of these rich, wealthy landowners are described as being that way. But the two good qualities he has, he's generous. He likes to share his wealth and probably spread around his money, and he's good-natured. He has a nice personality. Right now, guys, we're going to take a quick break, listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back to continue our journey with these animal friends.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们今天要带大家来看一个故事，是柳林风声 The Wind in the Willows。 不晓得你们小时候有没有看过这样子的漫画啊，或者是那个所谓的绘本，叫做柳林风声。因为其实这个故事真的好久好久了，它在1949年啊，就有 Disney 有把它做成卡通，然后在1996年的时候，甚至有一个电影是真人演出的。好，那这个柳林风声啊，其实是有几个动物一起来这个组成的故事啦。所以我们要说故事的时候，总要讲说，什么时间啊，什么地点啊，什么人啊，到底发生什么事。所以我们来看一下，故事就从鼹鼠开始说起啊。在这个鼹鼠啊，在第一段的第一句 mole M-O-L-E， 这个是鼹鼠。那另外一个主角呢，会出现在第一段第三句 rat 河鼠。然后在第二段的第一句呢，出现了第三个主角是 toad， 我们中文就翻成蛤蟆。然后接下来我们在第三段的地方，第三段的第一句会看到老獾 badger， 那就是4种不同的动物。好，那鼹鼠怎么样呢？就是有一天啊，鼹鼠春季在打扫的时候，他突然心情不好，感到很灰心，于是他就离开他在地下的房子，就走到户外了。 不过你会发现，其实今天这个文章啊，不会太困难，因为它的句型其实大概就是第一段有一些关系子句的限定用法，或者是非限定用法的关系子句，然后到最后一段第3段的时候也有一个逗点户。可是这一篇文章出现了好多好实用的片语，所以我们等一下会全部都把它圈出来。然后这篇文章也出现了好几个复合字，就是2个字或3个字合成一个，有没有？不管是当名词啦，或者是形容词，我们也抓出来看一看。好，所以第一段啊，我们刚刚讲的，因为鼹鼠呢对春季大扫除突然感到很灰心。好，这里的第一段第一句先把对什么什么感到很灰心，对什么什么感到很沮丧抓出来 ，become frustrated with something or someone。 这里的 become 你可以换成 be 动词啊，你也可以说 be frustrated with。 好，那接下来呢，他就走到户外嘛，走到户外之后来到第2句，他就突然发现一条河流，突然发现，偶尔发现。第2句 comes upon， 这边的 come upon 可以把它圈出来，就是偶尔偶遇啊，突然发现的意思。那这个河流，哇哦，他就觉得这个河好美哦，声音啊，还有不断的流动的景象，哇哦，整个就被吸引了。如果是被什么什么吸引，而且是相当的喜爱的话，也可以用 be enchanted by something， 同样出现在第一段第2句这个地方 be 动词 be enchanted by something。 然后鼹鼠呢就突然遇见了另外一个角色，我们刚刚说的河鼠 Rat 是谁呢？他是一个很热爱传播的人。当我们刚刚不是说第一段有几个限定用法、非限定用法的关系子句吗？其中这个第3句啊，逗点之后的 who 就是补充说明，还有刚刚的第一句 more 之后逗点的 who 也都是补充说明。因为我们在这里看到的是小说的唯一的那个角色，所以就不用限定嘛，补充说明一下。好，总而言之，河鼠就邀请鼹鼠一起去野餐，后来鼹鼠就爱上这条河，还有生活在河边的所有人的生活方式，他就搬去跟河鼠一起住了。搬家 move， 搬去和某人一起住 move in with someone。 好，接下来来到第2段咯，出现我们刚刚说的 toad 蛤蟆这个角色。蛤蟆是谁呢？他有一个蛤蟆庄园，他是一个很富有的地主哦。不过他还好啦，就是说他还蛮 generous， 蛮慷慨大方的，而且心地也很善良。在第2段第2句的地方，逗点前面又看到一个复合形容词咯，我们把 good natured抓出来，它的规则是形容词一杠名词 ed， 那个一杠连字号 hyphen 就是把2个字连起来的意思。good natured， 如果你说 good nature， 它会变成名词的概念，就是好的本性。但是因为在这里要作为形容词来修饰 toad 这个角色，所以连起来名词 ed 啊，就让它变成形容词。不过因为 toad 很容易吹牛，他很喜欢吹牛夸大，然后又很自大。后面有一个 be 动词带的 be prone to something， 特别注意哦，表示有什么倾向，很容易怎样 to 介系词。然后在这一句的最后面的 self-importance 也要抓出来，它是一个名词的概念。self-importance 就是自己很重要，所以其实就表示自大的意思。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It's our day 1 of a literature unit. We're talking about a book called The Wind in the Willows that was published in 1908. This is a really old book, but a lot of the principles and the messages inside are still applicable today. They make a lot of sense to us as we read it. And this was a book written by a father for his young son, who he called Mouse because his young son was born with really bad eyesight. So I'm seeing here that probably Mole represents his son. And his son wasn't always able to get out and play, so I can see Mole wanting to experience what it's like to live above the ground. And he loves the motion of the river. He runs into Rat, makes a friend with him, and then they are introduced to Toad. Rat knows Toad and introduces Mole to Toad. Remember, Toad is the rich friend. He owns land. If you're a landowner, you probably are much more wealthy than others who don't own property. It's good to own property, that's for sure. We find out that Toad is very wealthy, but he's also generous. He likes to share his wealth with others. He's good-natured. He likes to laugh, but he is prone or likely to be boasting about how wealthy he is, how smart he is. He exaggerates his stories, so his stories are even bigger than they really are. So he kind of makes his stories sound more exciting than they are. But he also feels like he's pretty important, so he has self-importance. So those are the bad qualities. Let's continue on our journey now.
Okay, he's also quick to become obsessed with new hobbies and just as quick to give up on them. If you're obsessed with something, that means you can only think about that thing. You can't really think about anything else. You're very excited about it. You might be obsessed with baseball. You've got to go see the games all the time. You're on the internet looking for information about all your favorite players and their statistics and stuff like that. You might be obsessed with baseball. But here he's obsessed with new hobbies. When he gets a new hobby, he only thinks about that hobby. But he's also just as quick to give up on them. He gets obsessed with those hobbies, but then later he loses interest just as quickly.
We would call that having a short attention span. And a lot of the adults in today's world are worried that our kids are developing this short attention span because of video games, right? So, yeah, kids need to be entertained much more often than they did when, say, Tom and I were growing up. We would just go outside and play for a while. But yeah, short attention spans, that's a problem. So he gets into new hobbies, but he gets bored easily. He gives them up. Mole and Rat observe this in person, so they see this about their new friend when they accompany Toad on a journey in a caravan. Now, a caravan here is referring to a trailer of some type. Caravan is used in British English to describe those trailers that you can hook onto your truck or your car and pull it along, and you can live in this trailer. It has a small kitchen and a bathroom and things like that. Well, they're almost hit by a car. So they almost get into an accident, and it says the incident, or what they experienced, sparks or starts Toad's new mania or craze for cars and driving. An incident is a word we often use when we're talking about something that happened, an event, an occurrence, but it's often a bad thing, right? An incident happened at school. Someone hit me, and I had to go and tell the principal. So they have this bad experience, and then that starts Toad's craze for cars and driving.
Right, so he saw the car, they were almost hit by the car, and then Toad thought, cars, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna be really excited about cars. I've got an obsession with cars, and he has a mania for cars and also for driving. And you have to remember, of course, that this story was published way back in 1908. So the cars and the caravans were probably different back then.
Yeah.
And here in the next paragraph it says, as winter approaches, Mole decides to seek out and make the acquaintance of Badger, a well-respected but seldom seen resident of the nearby Wild Wood. So remember, we were in the summer, everybody was having fun, but now winter is approaching. It's getting closer to winter, and so Mole decides to make the acquaintance of Badger. He's interested in making new friends, and there's a badger there whose name is Badger, and he's a well-respected but seldom seen resident of the nearby Wild Wood. So they respect him a lot, but they don't really see him a lot. And where he lives is called the Wild Wood. You do have to remember that in England, they tend to call forests just a wood.
Yeah.
What is it, the 1,000-acre wood or whatever in
we would tend to actually put an S on it, either call it a forest or woods. They went into the woods. That's a big difference. Sounds like it's a dangerous place, though, Tom, right?
Indeed. And yes, indeed, here again, Mole sets out alone for the wood, but Rat neglected to tell him that many of the wild wooders are unfriendly, even cruel.
Ooh.
So again, Mole wants to know Badger. He lives in the wild wood, but his friend there, Rat, failed to tell him that the wild wood is kind of a dangerous place. If you neglect to do something, you don't do what you were supposed to do, okay? So you might neglect your yard at your home or your garden or whatever,
right.
And the weeds grow, and then you have to go in there and work really hard to clean up the yard.
Or a pet. You neglect to feed your pet.
Right, and it gets hungry and attacks you and things like that. So yes, he forgot to tell him that, hey, lots of people who live in the wild wood, or the wild wooders, as we're going to call them, they're unfriendly. They're not like us, and they're even cruel. They're mean to other people just to be mean to them.
Yeah, so it sounds like they bully other people, and it sounds like they're kind of a bad gang that live in the wild wood. Again, we're calling them wild wooders, and they're unfriendly and they're cruel, so they aren't the good guys. They start hunting Mole for fun. This happens sometimes when you get into a big group. Sometimes it brings out the worst in people. And we even see that today in gangs. They get together and they start doing things that normally, if they were alone, they would never do. But when you're with a group, sometimes the worst impulses take over. So they start hunting Mole for fun, like that's fun. And poor Mole is probably scared to death. Remember, the mole can't see very well. So he's in extra, I think, danger because he doesn't know where to go.
And Rat comes to rescue Mole, but they are trapped by snow. Remember, it's winter now. And desperate, they try to find a way out and stumble across Badger's front door. If you're desperate, that means you're in a hopeless situation and you really need some kind of miracle to get out of it. So it's snowy there. They're trapped in the snow, so they try to find a way out of the snow and out of the wood. And they stumble across Badger's front door. If you stumble across something, that means you find it and you weren't really looking for it. So they just kind of happened on Badger's front door. So there they were able to meet Badger finally.
Yeah, this is a great article, guys, for this particular idea that you don't plan something, but it just happens. You come upon, you stumble across, you run into. Those are great phrases. You should learn them together so that you can use them when you need them. Badger is right there. He takes them in when they stumble across his front door and looks after them. And then the three friends discuss Toad. They talk about what Toad is going through and how he's been involved in all these car accidents. And this is threatening to ruin him. He could be arrested or be sued and lose all his money. Remember, he's rich. Badger promises that next summer he will take action to save Toad from himself. Toad's actually doing things that are going to ruin his own life, but his friends want to try to save them, and Badger's going to try to do that next summer.
And we'll find out what happens in our program next time, but right now it's time to listen to our Chinese teacher.
然后 Toad 还有其他的个性啊，他就很容易迷上一些新的嗜好，但是很快的就会放弃他们。所以同样在第二段第三句，如果是迷上什么什么，会用 be obsessed with something， be 动词啊 become 吗都可以。放弃叫做 give up， 放弃什么事情 give up on something， 这三个字一起框起来。好，那接下来我们就看到鼹鼠啦，鼹鼠跟河鼠是他们的朋友嘛，那亲眼目睹了这一点，所以当他们陪着蛤蟆在坐大敞篷车旅行的时候，当时大的敞篷车就是蛤蟆很着迷的东西，然后又几乎被一辆车子给撞到。不过这个事故啊，居然引发了蛤蟆对于汽车跟驾驶的一种狂热。所以故事情节走到这边啊，我们还是要回过头来看，我们今天最主要的任务就是要把很多很常用的片语抓出来。像在第二段这边第四句有一个 in person。其实你把 in person 框起来的时候，最好给它一个箭头指向前面的动作，因为我们通常会说 do something in person， 指的是亲自的去做一件事情。See something in person， observe something in person， 就是亲眼看到的意思。好，接下来故事情节又说啦，随着冬天来临啊，鼹鼠就要决定要去寻觅。寻觅的时候呢，就刚好认识了老獾。在第3段第1句看到了我们的另外一个主角，叫做 Badger。Badger 前面的4个字我们也可以抓出来 make the acquaintance of， 就表示认识某人的意思。那老獾是谁呢？老獾是一个受人尊敬但是很少被看见的一个人。我们在同样的第3段第1句逗点之后有2个复合形容词，一个是 well respected，副词动词 ed， 这个 ed 呢就有表示被动的意味，表示很被别人尊敬。后面的 seldom seen 也是一样，副词动词 ed， 不过在这里看的 pp 是 seen 啦，所以我们字面上看到的是很少被见到。那后来鼹鼠呢，一个人到野林之后，但是河鼠告诉他，其实很多的野林居民都不友善啊，很残暴。后来果然鼹鼠就发生危险，不过他的朋友来拯救他了。拯救的片语我们在最后一段第3句第4句的地方呢，我们看到 come to rescue someone， 不过我们经常会用的是 come to one's rescue。Come to one's rescue。 不过故事会怎么发展呢？我们明天继续来听这个故事。
That's all for today, everybody, but I'm sure you're all just as excited as I am, and you want to find out what happens next in our featured story, The Wind in the Willows, so please join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.